I'm Gwen Preston of Resource Maven. We're here at the Metals Investor Forum in Vancouver in January, and I'm joined by Reid of Troilus Gold. We haven't had you here at the show, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So if you haven't heard of Troilus, it's because it's still a fairly new story, I would say, and it's one that retail's not super familiar with. So why don't you start at the beginning? What is Troilus? What is the Troilus mine? And why did you pick it up?
Sure. So Troilus is a past-producing mine in northern Quebec. It was operated by Inmet. It produced 2 million ounces of gold and 70,000 tons of copper over a 14-year mine life. Shut down in 2010. The history is interesting. Inmet was a global base metal producer. They wanted the gold multiple in the 80s, and that's when there was a real gold multiple. You traded at 2.5 times NAV, 25 times forward cash flow.
Yeah.
And so they went forth and they had this North American-focused exploration program, and they found it.
Right.
And so found it in 86, drilled it out in 87 to 88, and then they threw it to the construction team. From the moment it went to the hands of the construction team, not a single exploration hole was ever drilled again. Mm-hmm. They didn't step out from beside the pit under the reserve shell along the belt.
Anywhere.
And they just exploited it. They put the mine into production in a $250 gold environment. They expanded it twice when gold got better, and they made money every year.
Great.
So jump forward, the end of the mine life, no drilling had happened. Mm-hmm. Inmet had a failed merger with Lundin Mining.
Yeah.
And then First Quantum came over hostily and took them over.
Yeah.
And they took them over for Cobre Panama, which we all know, and for La Cruces in Spain and the other assets.
Yeah.
So this was the only Canadian asset. It was a low-grade gold mine in northern Quebec. It didn't have any reserve life, and they shut it down.
Yeah.
And at that time in Canada, if you were investing in gold, you were watching Malartic. You were watching how the Detour construction is going. You were wondering if Young-Davidson was working underground.
Sure.
Nobody looked to the north. So they just put it down, and then we privately went in about 3 years ago and bought it from First Quantum for the environmental bond.
Amazing. And in the 3 years that you've had this asset, so I know one of the reasons, so you came out the gate with a resource that the market had some questions about because it was an underground resource that was only about 1.8 grams. But in the time since, your exploration has really transformed the resource story and the mine opportunity there.
100%.
Right?
So we did exactly what they didn't do.
Yeah.
We came out with 2 million ounces, just over 2 million ounces of 1.8 grams underground. Looks like Gold X of Agnicos. And we expanded that the first year. But at the same time, we tested these open pit extensions and targets with a lot of success. So we drilled 72,000 meters over 18 months, and we took the resource in 2 tranches from 2.2 million ounces to 6.4. And so now we're the largest developing gold deposit in Quebec.
And of those 6.4, a good chunk are open pittable. Now it's more of an open pit story with an underground opportunity.
100%. There is a ramp into the underground.
Sure.
And it's a good grade, and we love it. But we're looking at over 4 million ounces of above a gram at less than 2.5 to 1 strip ratio, which, running simple math, is an incredibly profitable return anywhere over $800 gold.
And then you're doing this at a project that isn't sort of just a brownfield site. I would say this is a Plan Nord, which is a big Quebec focus site with like a power station. So talk a little bit about the advantages of the site and where you're working.
Yeah, so we're located 150 kilometers north of Chibougamau within Plan Nord, which is an $80 billion fiscal incentive for northern development for the Quebec government. We've inherited a site that was very well maintained and that we've invested a lot of capital over the last 2 years to upgrade. So we have 45-kilometer production road ready into site. Gwen's been down it. We have 85 kilometers of power lines, sole use, upgraded by Hydro-Quebec this year. We have a 50-megawatt substation, which has been completely upgraded. That's capable of running a 50,000-ton-a-day mill and a 700-man camp. We have a fully permitted tailings facility that, if you assume 20,000 tons a day, we have 6 years of capacity without a lift, and all of the infrastructure. So all we need is a fleet and a mill, and a pre-feasibility, and those things are all well underway.
Right. I mean, it's a pretty exciting story. I think this has been a very institutional story so far because of your background, which is 100% institutional, and the team that you're with.
Yeah.
And that had a lot of that gave you a real strength out the gate. And now sort of, I think the opportunity is to get out there and talk to retail. So if retail is just learning the story, that it's kind of the right moment to hear it.
Yeah, we came to market 2 years ago in an incredibly bad market. And we were able to raise all the capital we needed through 20 institutions. And they're long-term value holders, they don't trade. And so we just got to work.
Yeah.
And when we needed a little more money, we just asked them and they gave it to us,
Right.
which was awesome. However, as we evolve and the market changes, we're putting all of our emphasis on retail marketing and really trying to diversify our shareholder base and communicate better.
Yeah, the share price can't respond unless people are trading. Institutions don't do a lot of trading, so you need some people who are trading.
100%.
Yeah. So, if you like the story, I mean, that's kind of Justin's focus right now.
That's Justin's focus and Paul Pinn's focus, and the entire marketing team's focus is you're not going to see a lot of institutional marketing, but you're going to see us around a lot.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to tell the folks who are watching here the story, and I look forward to keeping up with the news in 2020.
Thanks very much.